Jones. Mr. Jones is absent. Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent. Mr. Hairston.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher is absent. Mr. Schron.
Here.
Ms. Brown. We have a quorum.
And would you please call the roll again for Mr. Gallagher?
Oh, Mr.
Okay, great, thank you. I'll give Michael a moment to get to his seat. Okay, next item is public comment. Do we have any public comment related to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chair, no one has signed in.
Okay, next item is approval of the minutes from February 23rd, 2017. Those minutes are in your packet. Do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Ayes have it. Minutes are approved from February 23, 2017. We have one matter referred to committee, Resolution 2017-0038.
Resolution 2017-0038, authorizing agreement with Ohio Department of Administrative Services in the amount not to exceed $1,750,000 for data center co-location services for the period 1/1/2017 through 12/31/2021.
Okay, that measure is before us. Please proceed.
I'm sorry. All right, let's do that again. Michael Young, Department of IT. We're have in front of us the continuation of services for the state of Ohio for operating our data center. The extension is for the next 5 years. There is no rate increase. The operating budget has been within the defined confines that we set up on the first year. All the rack assignments and whatnot that we paid $500 per rack is going to continue for the next 5 years. As a performance, the state of Ohio has performed outstanding in support of us, considering the logistics challenges that we have with them being essentially 100 miles away. We've had no issues, no disruption of service, and we would like to consider their continued support.
Thank you very much. I would like to state for the record that Vice President Purnell Jones is now with us, and we're discussing Resolution 2017-0038, the agreement on the data center co-location for an additional 5 years. The floor is open to questions by any of my colleagues. Okay, go ahead.
The redundancy on this, again, could you just refresh my memory as far as where the two identical services would be? One is with the state. Is there a secondary service?
Now, currently the state has what's called a Tier 3 Plus facility. They have a lot of single redundancy. They currently do not have a secondary location.
Okay.
They are evaluating a secondary location, and actually an organization called WOW with 365, which happens to be based here in Cleveland, had won that RFP award. They are building that out to act as their disaster recovery site for that facility, and our intent is to piggyback them once they get that facility built out.
And we'll negotiate on it as a separate redundancy, or you'll negotiate back through the state of Ohio, and then will you rely on them to get
No, what we'll do is we'll contract those services through our existing agreement, and we
Okay.
think we have enough bandwidth within the existing agreement where we're not going to have to come back for any additional costs.
So we have no secondary support in the event that a power grid should fall where it's currently being serviced.
They have two separate power feeds that come into that facility, and they also have a series of generators, two of which wouldn't fit in this room, that could power them for weeks.
Oh, okay.
Before, yeah.
That's good enough. At least good enough for at least not. It's still not redundancy, but it's still
Correct.
It's still a single site, but it.
Yeah, and they have mitigating controls to make sure they have two different fuel feeds, et cetera.
Okay. Thank you.
And other than the enhancement of disaster-related capabilities, are there any other system enhancements contemplated during the life of the contract?
Well, we've already added some services to them that we're allowed to through the contract. They are taking care of our second shift operation or third shift operations, where we've had people retire off of that shift, and they're taking all of our third shift calls.
Okay. And is there any This is a 1/1/2017. Is there a need for passage under second reading suspension?
No, they're willing to wait until we go through our proper channels.
Okay. Any, yes, Ms. Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a point of clarification for the record. The information that's being supported by this system is administrative. Does it include any of the social worker information? Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
All of our back office systems for the core county all run through this environment. The Health and Human Services environment runs off facilities over at HHS. They're not currently housed down there.
So just admins, so not court-related documents, just
No,
maybe
court-related
like
documents
payroll and-
reside over at the courts.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions? Okay, well, even though you didn't ask, I'm just not seeing any controversy on this, and given that we're already 2 months in, I think I'm gonna suggest that we go for second reading suspension, but leave it to any of my colleagues if you want to make that motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, second. Okay, the motion is to recommend Resolution 2017-0038 to the full council with recommendation for passage under second reading suspension. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, it's so recommended. Thank you very much. Any miscellaneous business? Just to mention that on March 14th, at our next discussion of the Quicken Loans Transformation Project, we're going to have the Director of Finance and Budget in attendance, and we're going to spend some time on fleshing out in detail what the general fund impact of that proposal would be. Hearing no further miscellaneous business, any public comment?
No, Mr. Chair, no one has signed in.
Okay. All those a motion to adjourn? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?